when we're dancing, right, the aunties are all like, this one dances like a girl. What's wrong with the way? What do you mean? Like, I am grabbing onto that and I'm shaking.
I love that.
We would sit down, we'll see gay people on TV. They'll be like, if any of you turn out gay, we're gonna cut off your dicks.
If you could go back now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give when you were in the thick of it?
For the most part, it's funny because when I came out to my parents, like they both denied like seeing that in me. But I'm like, as a kid, not to say that you have to label children, right? And that everything means a thing.
Vibe,
But like you get a vibe. Like, for example, when we're dancing, right? We go to like the family functions or like whatever. The aunties are all like, this one dances like a girl.
Yeah.
Like, like.
Did they say that to you, or did they say it to like your?
Oh no, they're speaking amongst each other. I can hear. I can hear, bitch. They're like, I was gonna say it in a language, but obviously you wouldn't understand. But like, they're talking in like, this one dances like a girl, and I'm just here like, what's wrong with the way?
What do you mean?
Like what?
Doesn't everyone?
literally, like, say for example, it's like a family social, like the family's around. I am grabbing onto that and I'm shaking.
I love that.
Like when they like perform for us, I'm shaking my and I'm shaking it good. Like listen.
Why did you? You should have just carried on and be like, learn something, auntie.
Oh no, they didn't stop me, but I'm just saying like it was clear again. I was a
Yeah.
particular way.
Yeah.
Again, the sports stuff, like I like the athletics and stuff like that, but outside of that, I'm not doing no football, no nothing like that.
Yeah.
And like my dad was like a heavy football guy, so again, I felt
Did he
like
try to push you into doing that as well?
I think he wanted me to, but he didn't push me. He's not like a dominant figure, so he wouldn't like necessarily enforce something on me, but like you would understand like that's what he would have preferred. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like in terms of like a man that he is. So I think me being gay was interesting because like even like growing up, they would say like subliminal stuff, and it's like you're saying this stuff. Like now thinking back, it's like you had an inkling. Like for example, we would sit down, we'll see gay people on TV. They'll be like, if any of you turn out gay, we're gonna cut off your dicks as a joke. But at the same time, it's not a joke, and at the same time, it's like we're kids.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's like,
yeah.
You're telling me as a child, if I turn out, I don't even know what gay is to begin with. Like,
It's like putting it out there, like, just in case.
I'm gonna chop off your dick.
Yeah.
As a joke, and I'm there like, and the thing is, my cousin, he had an inkling. He was like, "You're gonna turn out to be a fag," and I was just like, oh
Really?
My God. Yeah, I was just like, "Oh my God, what the fuck are you talking about? Like a fag? What's a fag?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I'm not." He was like, "You like boys?" I'm like, "No, I don't." I like pussy. I swear. Show me the pussy. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be gay. Like I don't even fully know what that means, but I'm like, I'm fighting for my life. I'm like, no. So yeah, that definitely was an issue. And I think that coming back to like even coming out, like when I came out to my parents, they were just like in heavy denial. Like they were just like, one, they didn't believe me. Two, like they felt like I told them too late because they could have changed me or something like that. And I was just like, I'm so glad I told you at the time that I told you, because the age that I told them, I was like 21, 22. And at that point, I'd already accepted and come to terms with who I was. So I was like, if this goes left, I'm okay with it going left. Like, for example, if they kick me out, because that's a very true possibility in life.
Yeah.
I'm ready for you to kick me out because there's no if, ands, or buts about it. Like, I'm gay,
There's
that's
no,
what
like,
it is.
reliance there.
Yeah,
like,
it's just
of,
like, if I have to figure out life the way I have to figure it out, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I'm glad that I told them at the age that I did. And like a lot of the stuff that I've heard and received posts coming out was just a lot. Like, I think even like around the community, like the way people would speak about me, like in front of my family members and stuff like that. And it's one thing for like,
Oh, you mean like the African community?
Yeah. Like it's one thing for like, for example, like uncles and aunties to speak about like someone's child. But I think it's another thing for like those family members to not defend me. Like I've had one family defend me, but I've had other family members where it's like, people are talking about me, but you're not actually defending me. And I think that is one thing as well. It's like, I'm really just out here, so that's been challenging.
Like, I don't know what I found with like, I feel like Arab and African culture can be quite similar. Did you find that the majority of the issues were the fact that they cared more about how that looked on them as a reflection to the
100%.
other family members? Like, oh no, like
100%.
what are they gonna say? And that was more what they were.
100%. Yeah, it's a shame thing because I think To be fair, Ivorian community are somehow, but I think the Congolese community is a very image-based community. It's a very image-based culture.
Yeah.
For example, we have a particular subculture called Les Sappers. They wear these really flamboyant suits. Like, if you look up like the way Congolese men dress, they dress like gay men. Like, very much designer everywhere to show off like
that's
expensive.
So
So we already have that within the community, as in like they want to look a particular way, they want to look expensive. So how you are seen by the community is a very big thing. So to then turn out gay or have a gay child is a lot of shame. So again, I wasn't necessarily defended from that context because again, very image-based community, very do things the right way.
Who kind of had, if anyone, had your back more? Was it like your mum or your dad?
I would say my stepmom.
Your stepmom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say my mum has come to terms more with the fact than my dad. I wouldn't necessarily say that she had my back, if that makes sense. I think she's just coming to terms, and also like I set boundaries in terms of like, if you don't respect certain things, then you're gonna lose me as a child. Like I told her, like, and that was after actually going to therapy. Like I spoke to my therapist and stuff like that, and I was just like, I actually have to tell her, like, if you don't respect or try to make an effort to understand who I am as a person, you are actually gonna lose me as a child. Because that's coming back to when I said I came out, I was ready to like just go my own ways. Like if you cannot deal with me, that's
because it's you as a person.
exactly like there's nothing else to discuss. Like I'm gonna have to figure that out. But it's like so I think with my mum as well, like love my mum down. Like this is no like bad blood towards my mum, but I think it's more so a fact of she's had to come to terms with things rather than like have my back, if that makes sense. And even now, like I wouldn't even necessarily say like she has my back, because again, I think there's still that stuff of like, oh, don't speak too much about this or don't mention that. And it's like, no, I'm going to speak how I want to speak. So there's still that thing of like, oh, don't say this or move a particular way.
Careful.
Rather than like, if anyone was to ever say anything about you, like, you're my son. Like, I don't necessarily hear that. I heard that from my stepmom, which is funny. It's just like, if anyone says anything about you, I'm ready to fight for you. I'm like...
That's nice though, to have that like support, especially in the family.
Yeah, I feel like that's quite a lot of... like trauma with being gay. Like I feel like you, even the most like accepting parents, well, I don't know everyone, but like I'm thinking about like my mum, like she's very like, she would love us regardless, she'll always have our backs, but even at that point there was still coming to terms with it. Like when you said that, I was like, yeah, there's still that journey of like coming to terms with it and still being like, what are you gonna tell everyone? Don't tell everyone. But, like it takes time for them to just be like, okay, whatever, do what you want.
Your mum still said like she still made a statement of saying, I have unconditional love for you. And I don't think I've necessarily heard that. Does that make sense?
There's never been that.
Like, obviously my mum tells me like she loves me. Like she tells me all the time she loves me. But again, coming to the fact of like being gay or like whatever, I don't have in my head a strong memory of like, regardless of who you are, like I love you. Like that's not strong. That's not strong in my head. That's not to say she might not have said that in like inklings, but like that's just not a strong thing in my head. And I think that's a point, that it's not strong in my head that regardless of whatever, you are my son.
What? So say if you could go back now and speak to your younger self.
Oh, yeah.
What advice would you give when you were in the thick of it?
For the most part, I actually did speak to my younger self as my younger self. Like there was a different voice speaking to me at the time. And I think the main thing that I would tell myself, and I was telling myself, is that you need to find a certain level of like inner love that no one else can take away from you, and find something that you can wholeheartedly connect to, like the ideal is something that you can wholeheartedly connect to. So whether that's like something physical in the world, or whether that's something like spiritual, like have something that you can say, I have that to rely on. And for me, that was like faith in a God, and like in my version of a God that has made me like this and loves me. And like, there's nothing wrong with me in that sense. Like, I think once I had come to terms with that, I was okay.